So the cop lets me go. So I immediately get on the phone and call my friend that works for Death Row, and I called and told her, hey, Suge and Tupac just got shot. We're at the fight and they just got shot. And then she said, okay, and then hung up. And then I drove back to the hotel. And
what did your friend do for Death Row? Do you remember?
She was just a secretary. Yeah, so I drove back to the hotel and valeted my truck. And I went back to the dice table where my boy was, and I'm telling him what happened. You know, I'm just like, I'm still kind of like adrenaline just pumping because I had a shotgun pulled on me. I'm laying on the ground. I just was involved with Tupac being shot and Suge going through their situation. So I'm telling him, like, yo, man, it was Tupac got shot. Yeah, so I had been at the hotel, I'm not, maybe 15, 20 minutes or so. Anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes. And as I'm standing there talking to my boy, I get a tap on my shoulder and I look around. It's the same officer that drew down on me and pulled me out the car. He said, Mr. Jefferson, we fucked up. The detectives on at the scene. We shouldn't have let you go. They want you back at the scene. I was like, man, how'd y'all find me? The guy said, man, we're the police. I was like, I mean, I had already told him that I was staying at the Monte Carlo Hotel anyway. So it was just like all those people, like out of all those people, how did they find me? Seriously, he tapped me on my shoulder and said, we're the police. I was like, so anyway, I got through that. And then he said, well, we need to get you back at the scene. And I asked my boy, did he want to go with me? He said, no, I'm cool, I'm gonna stay here. So the officer told me that we see your Suburban still out front, and we need that back at the scene also. I said, okay, well, I'll drive. He said, no, well, I'll have my partner drive it. You'll just ride in the car with me. And so we walked back out. I gave him the valet ticket. The valet gave us the keys. The officer got into my Suburban, and I got into the front seat of the police car, and they drove me back around. We were really like about 2 blocks away. It wasn't really, it was like a 2 or 3 minute drive. It wasn't that far. So we get back to the scene, and now it's the media's there. It's a bunch of people, you know, now standing around. They got it taped off with the yellow tape, especially because of who was involved with it. So it attracted a lot of attention. I sat in the car at least about 30 to 45 minutes before someone came to talk to me. So finally, a detective came up. I can't remember the guy's name. I think the guy's name was Manning. So he came and talked to me. I got out the car, and he had the card with my information on it. And he said, yeah, I see you from Los Angeles. You're staying at the Monte Carlo Hotel. He said, tell me about what'd you see and what happened. So I just told him that, yeah, I was at the intersection. I was just cruising, you know, just checking out the scene. I really wasn't being truthful to him because there was a lot of stuff that I left out of the story I told him.
What did you leave out?
Just left out about me following them and being in the you know, the little chase scene or whatever it was. I just told him, like, no, I just happened to take a picture of them, and you know, I was driving around.
You didn't want to think you were trying to get rid of it. I'm not part of their entourage.
Yes, I was just trying to get it, because I didn't really know what was going on.
Right.
I didn't know who was involved or what was going on, so I was just trying to, you know, stay out the scene. I told him, I just saw him. I had took a picture. He said, "Oh, really?" I said, "Yeah, I was just at this intersection, and you know, they rolled up next to me, and I took a picture of them." He said, "Did you take many pictures?" I said, "No, I just took one picture." And then he said, "Okay, that might be helpful to us." So he said, "Do you mind if I see the camera?" So the camera was still inside of my truck. So I walked over to to my Suburban that got the camera, and he said that do you think we could have the film? And I kind of like hesitated. I was like, have the film for what? He's like, I could get it developed and tell you what's on it. He's like, no, we prefer to do it ourselves. So I said, okay, sure. I took the cartridge out and gave it to him, and he wrote some information down and gave it to me. Gave me his card. Yeah, that was pretty much it. And then he said that he would get back with me. And so there were other people that they were interviewing on the kind of like on the medium. Actually, where they threw me down, everybody was sitting down. So I sat on the curb. I was there with some of the Outlaw guys. I don't remember their names, but I just knew they were the Outlawz. And so I sat down, and we sat there till about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. It wasn't a cold night. It was summer, so it wasn't like, it was the winter time, so it wasn't that bad.
You sat there for all night, basically.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And so he came back and, asked me some more questions, just, where were you at when you took the picture? So I showed him, because we were still at the intersection. And people don't know this, and I mean, I've said it before, but the same intersection where I took the picture is the same intersection where we ended up at. So I had took the picture on one side, kind of like in front where the car ended up at, where the BMW ended. I took the picture like right here, this light here. So, I just told him where we were. Eventually, he said I was free to go. He gave me the keys to my Suburban, and I drove back to the hotel and went to my boy's room, knocked on the door. He was there. I said, man, I'm back. And he said, oh. He's like, you've been gone a long time. It was, So then I said, man, I'm gonna lay down for a little while, and then I'm ready to get on the road. I want to get out of here. And we got back on the road, back to LA.
So what do you think about the fact that the Southside Crips were in your same hotel with you?
Y'all staying at the Monte Carlo?
Yeah.
Okay. And who got the rooms for you at the Monte Carlo?
My wife, it was in my wife's name.
You didn't know that then, obviously. You didn't know who.
Yeah, I didn't know that. This is my first of hearing of this.
But it's crazy that, that cop comes into the casino area, finds you, and not realizing, because they also went back to that hotel after the shooting. They ditched the car and then walked back. So they were I
went to park the car by the carriage house. It's a parking lot on the opposite side of the carriage house. We left the car there and put the gun on the tire and left.
On the tire, front wheel tire, back tire, what?
Front tire.
After y'all left the gun on the tire, where'd you guys go?
We smoke weed and drink.
Yeah. Where? At the hotel?
At the hotel.
Stay in the room?
They might have been back by the time they got there, and here's this cop in the casino, and upstairs are the alleged killers. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.